The strange thing about money is that people don't suddenly start treating you differently when you become rich. It starts much earlier than that. Long before the nice house, long before the expensive car, long before the first $1 million, it starts the first time someone actually listens when you speak. You don't notice it at first, nobody does, because the changes are small, almost invisible. A different tone, a longer glance, a quicker reply, a little more respect than before. And then one day, you look back and realize something uncomfortable. The world wasn't reacting to you, it was reacting to what it thought you were worth. And the higher that number climbed, the more everything changed, not just your bank account, your friendships, your family, your opportunities, the way strangers looked at you, the way people spoke to you, even the way they remembered you. This is how people treat you at every level of wealth. And the final level is not what most people expect, because the biggest change isn't becoming important. It's realizing that somewhere along the way, people stop seeing you at all. At the beginning, nobody notices you, not because people are cruel, because people are busy. You are 22. You have $184 in your account. You check it 3 times a day, not because you're irresponsible, because one unexpected expense could change your entire month. Your car makes a noise you pretend not to hear. Your apartment has problems you learn to live with. And every financial decision feels heavier than it should. Dinner with friends isn't just dinner, it's math. A weekend trip isn't a vacation, it's math. A concert ticket, a new phone, a dentist appointment, math. You become fluent in calculations nobody else sees. One night you're out with friends, someone suggests a trip. Everyone gets excited, dates are discussed, ideas get thrown around. Then someone turns to you. You're coming, right? You smile. Let me check my schedule. You don't have a scheduling problem, you have a money problem. But nobody needs to know that, so you laugh, change the subject, and quietly remove yourself from the decision. The strange part isn't that nobody offered to help. The strange part is that nobody even noticed. Because when you're struggling financially, people don't usually exclude you. They simply stop factoring you into the equation. Not intentionally, automatically, like gravity. At this level, you are present, but you are not weighted. Your opinion matters less. Your plans matter less. Your future feels less certain. And people can sense uncertainty long before they can explain it. That's the first change money creates, not wealth, potential. Because the moment your situation improves, something surprising happens. People start listening. People start listening. And at first, it feels good, maybe too good. You get a better job. You move into a better apartment. Your account isn't impressive, but it's no longer fragile. If something breaks, you fix it. If your car needs repairs, you pay for them. If a friend suggests dinner, you don't check your banking app first. You simply say yes. And something subtle changes. Not in your finances, in the room. One day you're having a conversation you've had 100 times before. Politics, business, life, it doesn't matter. You say something, the exact same kind of thing you've always said. But this time, people don't interrupt. They wait. They actually listen. The strange thing is, your idea isn't better. You're not suddenly smarter. The information is the same. The delivery is the same. The only difference is that your life now appears more stable. And humans have a habit most people never notice. We assume successful outcomes came from good decisions, even when we have no proof. A person driving a broken car gives advice. We question it. The same advice from someone driving a new car sounds wiser. Same words, different messenger. This happens everywhere, at work, among friends, even inside families. And because it feels good, most people don't question it. But they should. Because what comes next is where things get interesting. Listening eventually becomes comparison. And comparison changes everything. Not because people hate your success, because success creates information. Information people cannot ignore. Before, nobody knew where they stood relative to you. Now they do. The promotion, the house, the vacation photos, the new opportunities, every visible improvement becomes data, and human beings are constantly ranking themselves against data, not consciously, automatically. A friend sees your new apartment, and suddenly he's thinking about his apartment. Your cousin hears about your raise. Now she's thinking about her salary. You mention you're investing. Someone else starts wondering why they never started. You didn't create the comparison. You became the reference point. And becoming a reference point is one of the strangest experiences in life because people start reacting to things you never said. You mention you're busy. Someone hears you're showing off. You mention you're tired. Someone hears you're complaining from a position of privilege. You mention you're excited. Someone hears you're bragging. The gap between what you mean and what people hear starts getting wider, not because you've changed, because comparison distorts perception, and comparison has a dangerous side effect. Once people start comparing themselves to you, they stop seeing you clearly. They start seeing themselves through you. That's when expectations arrive, and expectations are heavier than criticism, because criticism comes from strangers. Expectations come from people you love. One day, your family asks for advice, then they ask again, then again. Eventually, something happens, without any meeting, without any discussion. You've quietly become the responsible one, the stable one, the one who has answers, the one who can help, the one who can absorb problems. Nobody assigns you this role. It just appears, the same way dust slowly appears on furniture, gradually, until one day it's everywhere. And what nobody tells you is that success doesn't just buy freedom, it creates obligations, not legal obligations, psychological ones. People begin building assumptions around your capability. And once people believe you can carry more, they start handing you more responsibility, more expectations, more emotional weight. The strange part? Most of it comes disguised as respect. And that's why it's so difficult to recognize, because it feels positive, until it doesn't. Until one day, you realize people have become surprisingly generous with something that belongs to you: your time, your energy, your attention, your money. And that's the level where many people learn a painful lesson. People don't use wealthy people because they're evil. They use wealthy people for the same reason people lean on strong walls, because the wall looks strong. The wall can handle it. At least that's what everyone assumes. And that's the strange trade you never agreed to. At the beginning, your problem was that nobody paid attention. Now, attention is everywhere. And for a while, that feels like winning. After all, isn't that what most people want? To be noticed, to be respected, to matter. But attention has a side effect nobody talks about. The moment people start seeing you as successful, they stop seeing you as unfinished. Nobody says it out loud. It just happens. The same people who once asked if you're okay now assume you are. The same people who once checked on you now come to you for answers. The concern disappears. The confidence arrives. And both happen so gradually, you barely notice the exchange. Until one day, something goes wrong, not publicly, privately. Maybe business is slowing down. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you're carrying more pressure than anyone realizes. Maybe for the first time in years, you're not sure what comes next, and something surprising happens. You don't tell anyone, not because you're hiding it, because it genuinely doesn't occur to you. Somewhere along the way, you became the person who solves problems, not the person who brings them into the room. That's when you realize success changes more than how people see you. It changes how you see yourself. You start editing your own struggles, filtering your own doubts, managing your own image. Not for social media, for real life. You don't want to worry your parents. You don't want to discourage your employees. You don't want your friends thinking you're falling behind. So you carry it, quietly, the same way you used to carry financial stress when nobody knew you were struggling. Different weight, same silence, and that's when the final shift happens, the shift nobody warns you about. At the beginning of life, people judge you by your potential. Then they judge you by your progress. Then they judge you by your results. But eventually, they stop judging you altogether, because they've already decided who you are. That's why some conversations start feeling strange. People react to things you haven't said. They assume things you haven't explained. They predict what you'll think before you've spoken. They're no longer meeting you. They're meeting their idea of you, the version they built over years, the successful one, the capable one, the stable one. And the weirdest part, the more successful you become, the more convincing that version becomes, until even you start believing it, until one random moment reminds you that it's incomplete. Maybe it's an old friend, someone from before any of this, someone who remembers the apartment, the old car, the excuses, the uncertainty, someone who remembers the version of you that existed before success became part of your identity. And for an hour, you don't have to perform, you don't have to know, you don't have to lead, you don't have to be the successful one. You're just yourself. And that's when something becomes clear. The biggest difference between being poor and being wealthy isn't money, it's perspective. When you're struggling, people underestimate you. When you're succeeding, people simplify you. Both versions are incomplete. Both miss who you actually are. Because the truth is, you were never the broke person people dismissed. And you're not the successful person people imagine either. You're the same person that existed underneath both stories, the same person who sat at that dinner table years ago, wondering whether they could afford to be there, the same person who checked their bank account before ordering food, the same person who wanted a better life. And maybe that's the lesson hidden inside every level of wealth. At first, you think money will change your life. Then you discover it changes your relationships. Then you discover it changes your role. And eventually, you discover it changes the story people tell themselves when they look at you. At the beginning, nobody notices you. At the end, everybody does. But being noticed was never the goal. Being understood was. And if you're lucky enough to find people who still understand you after every level you've climbed, those are the people worth keeping. Because money changes almost everything. But the people who can still see the person behind the number, those are rare at every level.